All right, so let's dive into this. You sent us this YouTube video about generative AI and vector search.
Oh, yeah, Mary Grygleski from DataStax, right?
Yep. She gave a talk at APIDays.HK in 2023. It's amazing how GenAI has just exploded lately.
Yeah, it's everywhere now. What's fascinating is how it seems like it just came out of nowhere. But really, it's built upon years and years of research.
Exactly. Like in the video, Mary takes us way back. Did you know the concept of, machines automating things goes all the way back to ancient Greece?
Oh, wow, really?
Yeah. There's this story about a philosopher named Archytas who built a steam-powered pigeon.
A steam-powered pigeon. That's wild. So, obviously that's not the AI we have today, but it's interesting to see how long humans have, been thinking about this stuff.
Totally. But the big change happened with machine learning and deep learning.
Right.
It's like AI is this giant umbrella, and under it you have machine learning, where computers learn from data. Then deep learning takes it a step further, where computers actually try to mimic how our brains work.
It's almost like they're trying to think for themselves in a way.
Right. It's pretty mind-blowing.
Yeah.
Okay, so AI has been around, but now everyone is talking about generative AI. What makes it so different from, the AI we've seen in the past?
So generative AI, it's all about creating new things. Think like poems, music, even fashion designs. It's focused on, I'd say, more artistic applications.
So not just, doing calculations or playing chess.
Exactly. And it's different from predictive AI, which is, more about practical predictions, like,
Yeah.
Forecasting the weather or business trends.
So generative AI is focused on creativity, while predictive AI is more practical.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it.
Okay, I get it. But what led to this huge generative AI boom? It seems like it came out of nowhere.
It does seem sudden, but there were some key milestones that paved the way. Like back in 2003, Yoshua Bengio did some groundbreaking work on neural networks for language.
Right. And then a few years later, in 2011, we had Siri being integrated into Apple products.
Oh, yeah, that was a big deal. And remember Google's Word2Vec in 2013? That was a major step because it turned words into vectors, which we'll get to later.
Vectors are key to this whole thing. And then there's the transformer architecture that came out in 2017. That was a game changer for natural language processing.
Oh, absolutely. It revolutionized how we process language.
So I think now we have to talk about, well, the elephant in the room, GPT. What exactly does generative pre-trained transformer even mean?
So GPT models are basically trained on massive amounts of data to understand and generate human language. You give it a prompt, and it uses all that knowledge to respond in a way that sounds, pretty human.
Like it's having a conversation with you.
Right, exactly. It started with a paper published by OpenAI back in 2018, and just a year later, they released GPT-2, and things really took off from there.
It's crazy how fast it all happened. GPT-2 was really the foundation for all these even more advanced models, right? Like Stable Diffusion, DLE, and Midjourney.
Exactly. They all build upon those core concepts. But then, ChatGPT came out in late 2022, and it just blew up. 1 million users in 5 days.
It took the world by storm. Suddenly, everyone was using AI to write poems, create art, and even have, deep philosophical conversations.
It was a wild time, and the innovation hasn't stopped. Now we have Bing, Bard, GPT-4. It's like an AI arms race.
It is. New models and updates are coming out all the time. But how do these systems even understand what we're saying? That's where natural language processing comes in, right?
NLP, exactly. It's the bridge between human language and computers.
So NLP is how we basically teach computers to read and write like us.
Essentially, it processes massive amounts of text and speech data so computers can understand context, sentiment, nuances, like all the things that make human language so complex.
And all of that allows them to, have those somewhat natural conversations with us, like you see with chatbots.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing.
Okay, so this brings us to large language models, or LLMs. I've heard they are the brains behind a lot of these GenAI applications.
That's right. LLMs are trained on vast, and I mean vast amounts of data. We're talking like 880,000 GPU hours of training for some of those GPT models.
Wow. So what can these LLMs actually do? Besides having conversations?
Well, they can handle a ton of different tasks. They can generate different kinds of text, translate languages, answer questions, even analyze sentiment. It's like they can understand and respond to language almost like a human would.
It's like they're becoming more and more human-like every day.
Right. It's both
Yeah.
exciting and a little bit, unnerving.
I know what you mean.
Yeah.
Mary also mentioned some specific frameworks that developers are using to build these AI applications.
Oh, yeah, like LangChain, Meta's Llama 2, and Google's Polym 2. Those are some big ones.
Yes, those are the tools that developers use to work with LLMs and build all these powerful AI systems.
Right.
It's interesting how so many of those frameworks are built on Python. But she also mentioned some Java-based options, like Llama, are starting to pop up.
Yeah, it's cool to see how things are evolving to accommodate different programming languages.
Definitely. Now, this is where it gets really interesting. Vector databases. Mary emphasized how crucial they are for generative AI.
Right. Think about it. ChatGPT needs to sift through a mountain of information to answer your question.
It's searching through, like, the entire internet, right?
Exactly. And traditional databases just weren't built for that level of complexity and speed.
So vector databases are different.
Yeah, they're designed specifically for handling the intricate data used in machine learning.
Okay, so traditional databases are like trying to find a needle in a haystack, while vector databases make the search a lot more efficient.
Yeah, that's a good way to think about it. Vector databases are like specialized libraries for the AI world. Instead of rows and columns, they use these vector embeddings.
Vector embeddings, what are those?
Imagine them as like numerical fingerprints of data. Each embedding captures the meaning of a piece of text, whether it's a word, a sentence, an entire document.
So it's not about matching keywords anymore?
No, it's about understanding the actual meaning behind the words, like creating a map of meaning where similar concepts are grouped together. So when you search for something, the system finds the embedding that best represents your query and then returns the most similar embeddings from its database.
Wow. Okay, so vector databases store these embeddings and then help LLMs find the right information really quickly.
Exactly. It's like the missing piece of the puzzle, making sure GenAI systems can find what they need to answer your prompts and give you those really insightful responses.
This is also fascinating. It's amazing how far AI has come. But it also feels like we're just scratching the surface.
Oh, absolutely. And the field is evolving so rapidly, there's so much more to discover.
Okay, so we've talked about the history and the technology.
Yeah.
But I'm really curious about, how generative AI is actually being used, like in the real world.
Oh, yeah. It's not just about, creating cool images or writing poetry. It's already having a huge impact on different industries and changing the way we work.
Can you give me some examples?
Sure. One big area is customer service. Like AI-powered chatbots can now provide instant support, answering questions and resolving issues, 24/7.
So they're basically available all the time.
Yeah. And that frees up human agents to focus on more complex problems.
So it's not about replacing humans, it's more about helping them be more efficient.
Exactly. GenAI is also making waves in education. Those personalized learning platforms that are becoming really popular?
Yeah?
A lot of them use AI to tailor lessons to each student's individual needs.
So it's like having a personal tutor for every student.
Right. It's pretty amazing, and I think that has the potential to really democratize education and make it more accessible for everyone.
I agree. And what about content creation?
Oh, yeah. GenAI is already being used to write articles, create marketing copy, even compose music.
It's like having a creative assistant at your fingertips. Mary said something in the video about how it's almost like ask and you shall receive.
Yeah.
It does feel like we're on the verge of a world where, almost anything is possible.
It's true. But, we also have to be aware of the potential downsides. Like, what about those hallucinations where AI generates inaccurate or misleading information?
Oh, yeah, that's a big concern.
It's important to remember that these systems are still in development. They're not perfect.
So we can't just blindly trust everything they produce.
Right. Fact-checking is more important than ever. We need to develop those critical thinking skills to navigate this new world of AI-generated content.
Yeah, I agree. Okay, so let's shift gears back to vector search for a bit. Can you break down how it actually works?
Sure. Imagine, you have this massive library of information, like all the text on the internet. Vector search converts that information into numerical representations. We call them vector embeddings.
So these embeddings, they represent the meaning of the text.
Exactly. Each embedding captures the meaning of a piece of text, whether it's a single word or a whole document.
So it's not just about matching keywords anymore. It's about understanding what the text actually means.
Right. It's like creating a map of meaning where similar concepts are clustered together. So when you search for something, the system finds the embedding that best matches your query and then returns the most similar embeddings from its database.
It's almost like having a librarian who understands what you're looking for.
Exactly. And that's why vector search is so crucial for GenAI applications. because when you give a prompt to something like ChatGPT, it needs to sift through all that data to generate a relevant response.
So vector search helps GenAI systems find the right information quickly and efficiently.
Right. It's like the brain's search engine.
Now, Mary also talked about DataStax and their work with vector search. What stood out to you about their approach?
Well, DataStax has all this expertise in databases, and they're combining that with the power of vector search. They've created a platform that can handle the massive amounts of data required for GenAI applications, but it's also fast and flexible enough for real-time interactions.
So they're really building the infrastructure for the future of AI.
Yeah, I'd say so. And they're making it accessible to developers through their AstraDB platform, which even offers a free tier. They also have a lot of great resources like their podcast and Twitch stream where you can learn more.
I'll definitely check those out. This whole deep dive has been really eye-opening. We've covered so much.
I know, right? From ancient Greece to the inner workings of AI, it's been quite a journey.
It has. And it's exciting to see where it all goes from here. But as we move forward, it's important to approach this new era responsibly, right? With awareness of the potential risks.
Absolutely. I think that's a really important point. We've touched upon some of the challenges and ethical considerations, but I think it's worth delving into those a bit more.
So we've talked about the history, the tech, the real-world uses.
It's been quite a journey. And to think, this all started with that YouTube video you sent. Remember Mary Grygleski?
Oh, absolutely. I loved her enthusiasm, especially when she talked about DataStax and their role in all of this, building the infrastructure for GenAI.
Yeah. What DataStax is doing is really interesting. It's like they're bridging the gap between traditional databases and, the unique demands of AI.
Right, because AI needs something different.
Right, exactly. Their platform can handle these huge, massive data sets, but it's also got the speed and flexibility that you need for those real-time interactions.
So it's kind of like they're building the highways for this whole AI revolution.
That's a great way to put it. And the best part is they're making these tools accessible to developers through AstraDB.
Right, their platform. And it even has a free tier, so anyone can get started.
Exactly. Plus, they have all these resources like their podcasts and their Twitch stream where you can really dive deep and learn from the experts.
I'm definitely going to check those out.
Huh.
As we wrap up this deep dive, I have to say I'm both amazed by the potential of generative AI, but also a little apprehensive about the risks.
I think that's a really healthy perspective to have. It's important to approach all of this with, a mix of excitement and caution.
Because it is a powerful tool. And like any tool, it can be misused.
Exactly. So how do we make sure it's used ethically and responsibly?
Right, that's the big question. It feels like we're all part of this huge experiment, and we're figuring it out as we go.
I think awareness is a good place to start. The more we all understand about Gen AI, how it works, what it can do, and what it can't do, the better equipped we'll be.
So we need to stay informed, ask questions, have these conversations about the impact it's having.
Absolutely. It's not just about the technology itself, it's about how we choose to use it. We all have a role to play in shaping the future of AI.
And that future is being written right now. It's an exciting time to be alive, that's for sure.
It really is. Who knows what the next few years will bring?
Well, this deep dive has been incredible. I've learned so much. Hopefully it's been insightful for our listeners as well. And remember, the world of AI is constantly changing, so stay curious and keep exploring. Thanks for joining us.